Hello and welcome back to the unit tutorial for Geography Year 1, Unit 1, Our Local Area, and this is video part 2 of 2. My name is Megan Latchford and I'm the Design Lead at Art Curriculum Plus, Primary Geography, History and Science. This video will walk you through the following areas: how to adapt activities and lessons, how to plan for the Enquiry Question, and key moments within the unit to look out for. A great resource to use to adapt pupil activities in this unit is the online ebook workbook. This is a demonstration of how to use the ebook to adapt activities. Here I'm using a Year 3 Science workbook, but this video applies to all year groups and subjects. To access the ebook workbook for this unit, log into Oxford OWL, select the year group and subject you want, in this case Science Year 3, but for your case Geography Year 1, and the first resource on the list is the ebook. This is an online exact copy of the pupil workbook. Use the arrows to scroll through the pages. You can find all the units within this ebook, just like within the physical copy. Select the activity you want to adapt by using the snipping tool and highlighting that section. You may be familiar with the snipping tool, but it can be found by searching in the search bar or simultaneously pressing Windows, Shift and S. Drag your mouse to highlight the area you want to copy, and that section of your screen will be copied onto your clipboard. And now you can press Paste, and that section will be pasted onto the document you want. Sometimes you may find that Word works best, and sometimes perhaps Publisher. I like to use Word for the draw tool if I want to highlight anything or write in handwriting, and Publisher is quite good for moving around text boxes and shapes. Now you can adapt the activity in any way you want. Here you can see I'm actually adding an extra label, but adapt the activity to the needs of your class. Then you can print this out and stick it on top of the activity in the pupil workbook. You can find the Knowledge Quiz booklet on Oxford OWL with this unit's resources, and every lesson starts the knowledge quiz except for lesson 1. Knowledge quizzes can be implemented in a variety of ways, which entirely depend on what works best for your class. They are an important step to check for understanding and address any misconceptions, so try not to miss them out. We have found from teacher feedback that most teachers teach these quizzes with pupils sat at desks independently answering the questions, and this is great if this works for your pupils, and keep doing if so. But there are other options if you feel this isn't the best method for your class. You could read the questions and options as a whole class and go through each question and answer one by one, breaking it down to bite-sized chunks. For Key Stage 1, you may be using carpet time in your classroom, so you could have pupils on the carpet answering the questions by showing a number on their hands, for example, 1 finger for 1 and 2 fingers for option 2. To keep a track of answers in this method, you could keep a record of the general consensus the class has come to, or even make a note in the workbook you kept aside as a teacher copy. The aim of the knowledge quiz is to assess the new learning from the previous lesson, and you can adapt this to any method which best suits your class. This is the first workbook activity for Lesson 1. I'm going to run through the activities in the workbook from Lesson 1 to 6 and give suggestions on how you may adapt them. You don't have to use my examples or even adapt the tool, but these are suggestions for ways in which you could. In this activity, pupils need to draw some things that you found around your school. To support pupils, you could give pupils printed handouts of photos of items from around the school to use to draw from. Or you give pupils images from school that can be stuck into their books. To stretch pupils, you could ask them to answer more challenging activities such as label the items you have drawn. In Lesson 2, pupils need to write what they think they will see, hear and smell in their local area. Once pupils have been on a walk through their local area, they will record what they saw, heard and smelt. To support pupils, you could ask them to draw their answers instead of write. You could give prompts for see, hear and smell. And you could add the locations before pupils begin recording. To stretch pupils, ask them to answer a challenging activity such as write a full sentence for your answer. In Lesson 3, pupils need to draw their favourite landmark from their local area, then explain why it is special. To support pupils, you can provide images of local landmarks in your area for pupils to copy or stick in. You could give labels of landmarks for pupils to stick in. And you could add a word bank to support with explanations or get a verbal response from an adult to add. To stretch pupils, ask pupils to answer more challenging activities such as write a full sentence for your answer. In Lesson 4, pupils need to draw a line between the different types of home and their labels. To support pupils, partially complete the activity as a model and to give pupils more time to be successful. You could also add labels of the house names beneath the images so pupils can match the name to name, or you could remove some of the options completely. To stretch pupils, ask them to complete a challenging activity such as explain which house you'd like to live in and why. In Lesson 5, pupils list some buildings, places and landmarks that are near your school and some that are far away. To support pupils, you could create labels of near and far landmarks that pupils could sort and stick into books. You could ask pupils to draw instead of write by sticking in blank spaces. And you can stretch pupils by asking them to answer more challenging questions such as, which is your favourite landmark and why? This could be a written response or verbal. In Lesson 6, pupils need to write what they like and dislike about your local area and then describe what they would like to change and why. To support pupils, create labels of things in your local area for people to stick in. You could ask people to draw instead of write. And to stretch pupils, you could ask them more challenging activities such as design your dream town and explain your design. To recap, this is the inquiry question for this unit. Lesson 6 is only an hour to provide time within the lesson for pupils to complete this activity. How pupils complete this end of unit assessment is decided by your school, year group, class teacher. So now is a great time to think ahead to plan for what this will look like. To support teachers with implementing the inquiry question, we have created an inquiry question support document, and here you can find the information you will need and an additional activity for pupils to complete. This could support them as a planning activity, be a recap of the entire unit knowledge to refresh memories before the assessment, or be edited into the assessment itself. The inquiry question support document for this unit can be found with the other resources on Oxford OWL. Your inquiry question could be answered as an extended write, a poster, a presentation, a question paper, a multiple choice quiz, or whatever best suits your class. For every unit, there are elements that will need to be planned in advance by the class teacher. You'll need to print the knowledge quiz booklet for pupils and plan where you'll keep them between lessons. This could be in a pile with you or slipped into the front of the workbooks. You'll need to plan an engaging hook, how you get pupils interested and engaged in the learning to come. You could take them on a trip, on a bus journey, or make some art. You'll need to print off any additional resources per lesson, and not every single lesson may have an additional resource, so make sure you check before you teach. And you'll need to gather resources for specific lessons by reading through the unit planning guide. Hopefully, you now feel confident about accessing and teaching this unit. Any questions, please send to primarymastery@artcurriculumplus.org.uk, and we welcome all feedback to ensure that these resources are as supportive as possible for you and your pupils.